We cannot forever rely on technology controlled by somebody else. It could be weaponized against us. It has been weaponized against us. Everything good takes time. So we'll roll out in a steady clip. Maybe every week, every 2 weeks, something will roll out. Even after the attention is not there, we'll keep continuing to update. When Zoho Mail launched back in 2009, absolutely nobody cared. Today is one of our fastest growing products globally. And Chinese companies, for example, came later to EVs than Tesla. Today, a Chinese company, BYD, has overtaken Tesla. So, and if you ask me what is my primary mission, it is to make sure we are technologically self-reliant as a nation. So I want to live where I live. I want to be in rural districts. I don't want to move to big cities. So that's my self-imposed limits. So within that, I'm happy to provide my service to this nation.
Hello, everyone. Joining us today is Sridhar Vembu, Zoho's chief scientist and co-founder. Of course, Zoho has been in the news in recent weeks thanks to its instant messaging app, Arattai, and of course, because of central ministers posting on social media about moving to Zoho products. Zoho is not an overnight success. It has been building enterprise products for almost 30 years now, and it's a $1.5 billion company. Sridhar is joining us today to talk to us about all things Zoho, Arattai, and AI. Welcome, Sridhar. Vanakkam. Thank you for joining us today.
Vanakkam. Thank you for having me.
Sridhar, I wanted to first start with Kuril, the microblogging product that Zoho is reportedly building but has kept under wraps. Any update for us?
No, we never said anything about it. So I don't know. I cannot talk about it right now. So.
All right. But Zoho is going into this entire consumer tech play, right? After all these years of focusing so much on enterprise tech, why this seemingly sudden move to consumer tech? What's the play going to be like for Zoho?
So we have been building business to business, SaaS software, enterprise-oriented technology, and that involves a lot of scaling and security, compliance, very stringent audits, all of that. And of course, we run 19 data centers. We serve customers around the world. So we gained that experience. And of course, we have also built a really good revenue base and a global audience. And we wanted to apply that technology know-how to consumer software for two reasons. One, of course, we have the know-how capabilities. Two, it is also something that's important for our nation today. We cannot forever rely on technology controlled by somebody else. It could be weaponized against us. It has been weaponized against us. So that is why we have to build all of this. We know it's a tough slog. It's never going to be easy. But somebody has to make a beginning. And, once we put a stake in the ground and execute, over time, the kind of the universe has a way of helping you. That's how we always think about this.
Always philosophical there, Sridhar. I do want to come to that weaponization part a bit later, but I want to stick with Arattai for a moment. And while you are not confirming about Kuril, I'm sure there is a consumer play planned out there. But I wanted to understand that, like you mentioned, right? Right now, there is a lot of attention, but there is also that risk of, the being brought down from the pedestal as well, which always happens with a lot of our products, and the attention does go away, right? So how are you envisioning Arattai to develop? You have spoken about interoperability. You have spoken about UPI. What is your vision for Arattai? What will it evolve?
Obviously, none of this kind of attention can last forever. People will get bored. If we keep talking about Arattai, 2 months down, people will get bored. It's an essential utility. The part of being an essential utility is you don't talk about it all the time. We don't talk about electricity all the time or water all the time, right? So Arattai has to be like that. So that is why we are well prepared for it. We have to execute long term in terms of the product, all the integrations, the full ecosystem. That is where our core strength as a company shine, because we have the payment systems, we have e-commerce, we have a lot of these authoring tools, a lot of this. We can bring all of those technologies to bear on the Arattai, and we have to do this intelligently. And we also have an ecosystem, mapping software from Map My India, and a lot of these integrations can be done. All of this is in the works. but it'll take some time. Everything good takes time. So we'll roll out in a steady clip, maybe every week, every 2 weeks, something will roll out. Even after the attention is not there, we'll keep continuing to update. You will see it from us. And that's when I think the world will take note. And we have experience doing this. When Zoho Mail launched back in 2009, absolutely nobody cared. Microsoft had already won the corporate email market. Gmail had taken the entire consumer market. What is the need for anybody else, right? And it was 2012, 13, 14. We still had minimal sales, but we kept updating, we kept improving. It was really only 2017, 18 we started seeing more and more customers. Today is one of our fastest growing products globally, and not just in India, but globally, in whether UAE and in Canada, in Australia, including in the US. We are actually winning customers, and it's our user base on Zoho Mail is growing rapidly. So that's the patience. That's what patient execution looks like. We do expect a similar trajectory for Arattai, and we are in it for the long haul.
So you're saying you have that staying power, you have that as
Yes.
part of your DNA, and so you can stay the course.
Yes, we will stay the course.
Interesting. You spoke about the entire weaponization part of it, right? And that's been a strong element of your entire swadeshi ethos that you have. And we have seen that sovereign AI is something that everyone is talking about. But there is also the flip side to it, right? India has a lot of challenges, everything from energy to the shortage of GPU. All of these are facts that we know of. So what should the India AI play look like? What do you think, or what are your three concrete steps that India and the Indian tech ecosystem should take right now?
We are focused on a lot of smaller models that can solve focused problems. Take this conversation. You can actually do a live transcripts, translations, all of it, and with very relatively small models that can almost, in many cases, can run even locally on the computer. These are low hanging fruit that actually we can do this well. And these are the kinds of things we are focused on. They don't require lots of GPUs. They don't require that energy. I would like us to focus on those type of technology right now, because I don't believe this very energy intensive AI is neither sustainable on a climate perspective, nor is it even affordable to India. We cannot afford that kind of energy intensity. And for example, today there is programmers in the US spending $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month on AI tools, because and in spite of that, those companies who are supplying those tools don't make money because they are spending it on GPUs and data centers, all of that. Can we afford that type of investment? On the other hand, what else can we do? We can use our brains and invent a better way. That's what we are doing, and we are actually working on technologies very much in that area, software development, all of this, alternative approaches that are not so GPU intensive, so energy intensive.
Could you give us a little bit of specifics? Because that's one of the things I wanted to understand from you, considering your move to the chief scientist role, right? So what are the problems that you are solving right now? Could you give us some of these specifics?
Basically, if you look at the field of software development, AI is making major inroads in it. This whole vibe coding phenomenon, where you can go and you set up an agent, or you even from the prompt, you can give it prompts and it'll give you a lot of code. It can give you thousands, tens of thousands of lines of code. That code, to actually for a human to write may take days, weeks, and you can do it in a few minutes or hours. And here's the problem though: the larger the code base, the more likely some subtle bugs lurk there, including security bugs, other bugs, all of it. The software may appear to work, but it could be brittle. It could have things under the surface. Today, a lot of this, the only way to resolve those problems is reviews, all of that. That's because they are looking at code generation as textual. There are alternative ways of looking at this. There's traditional technologies like compilers, and combining these, you could produce better code generation tools. This is one of the areas that I am working on personally. How do you combine these technologies? And that's that's it's promising area. We have made some very good progress, but we don't have a product to launch. Maybe in the next year or two, we will launch some products. This is the kind of innovation I believe that's very possible. Applying these technologies, combining them in intelligent ways, and here is where our real strength here. We have a large number of talented engineers coming out of our colleges. We can train and put them on challenging problems. And American companies do have a shortage of the talent, which is why the whole H1B, all of that was happening. And we have a lot more of that here. So we can put our own engineers to work on this, and that would give us a competitive edge. That's what I believe.
And that's an interesting point that you made about the Indian talent, right? Despite the H1B issues, we are seeing still a flight of talent. In fact, a lot of, say, venture capitalist funds are talking about moving Indian founders to US because, you need to be closer to the beating heart of AI innovation, which is EdTech, San Francisco. So what is your take on that?
I mean, the same VCs also would say somehow China has cracked in DeepSeek. They are not in the beating heart of AI, They are sitting in Shenzhen and they are doing AI in Chinese language. The moment's reflection will tell you that these are not actually, these not well thought out positions. You can actually build those ecosystems here. And we are doing it in Zoho. So I'm confident. And that's why this idea that somehow you ought to be at the beating heart of whatever is, to me, it doesn't add up to scrutiny, these ideas. China has built an ecosystem. There are Singapore companies that are innovating. Recently, Korean companies have started innovating. It's very much possible in India.
Got it. But we also spoke about the challenges, right? Like the ecosystem needs to be built. China has been investing in the space for decades now. So you have people like Arvind Srinivas, who's an IIT Madras boy, right? Who has moved there and is innovating there. How do you get people like that to come back to India or people to stay on in India when that ecosystem is still, it remains to be seen?
To an extent, see, if you look at what is the advantage of staying back in India, staying in India, right? I'll look at it that way. Rather than looking at the challenge of staying in India, what's the advantage? The advantage is there's abundance of young talent that's available that you can train, passionate, who are willing to learn, willing to commit to staying the course on these technologies. That's perhaps the biggest positive for India. There are other challenges that if you take the mindset that it's okay for me to take a year or two extra, I will crack this problem, then you can do this. And then people will respond, hey, the markets are moving so fast, we cannot wait for all this. Well, we are a standing, shining example where we came later, but we still have been able to penetrate markets. So Chinese companies came later, they've been able to do it. And Chinese companies, for example, came later to EVs than Tesla. Today, a Chinese company, BYD, has overtaken Tesla. So I think those are the examples I'll point to, that it's possible to do it.
So it's the way of looking at it. It's the way of looking at the opportunities and not just the challenges.
Challenges, exactly.
Got it. You spoke about Mapna India, right? And considering all the buzz and all the attention that has come to Zoho and towards swadeshi products, right? Built in India products, there is a lot of talk among the companies as well. So is there some, like you mentioned about the ecosystem, right? So is there some collaboration happening? Have you spoken to other companies? Can we expect something? They're not necessarily just around Arattai, but otherwise as well.
Yeah, we are talking to them. Actually, we've been so busy right now, technical, mired in technology right now. We haven't been able to set up meaningful collaborations yet. But once we sort of the current release cycles, we see them through, which might be a month or so, then you'll be able to look out ahead and do all these partnerships in place. We do want to promote the whole ecosystem of companies. We want to see in your phone and your thing, you have to have a full set of apps that get this job done. And we have a part of it to contribute. Other companies do have it too. So that's important. And that we will definitely play our part in making this ecosystem happen.
We have been speaking about Swadeshi, made in India, built in India, right? And we also do see, say, for instance, the NPCI partnership recently with OpenAI to enable UPI payments to ChatGPT. So there is a lot of this network effects that are happening, right? The reason they have opted for ChatGPT is because that's the kind of network effects that ChatGPT has all people. So how do we compete? How do Indian products compete with that kind of network effects?
Yeah. To some extent, you have to hook into some of the networks. We partner and we actually we play in various ecosystems. Obviously, our products are there in the App Store and Play Store, all of that. Okay, so to an extent, we have to do this, and we integrate with all of these technologies too. Okay, that we have to do. It's essential to serve global customers too, not only in India but everywhere in the world. These integrations are vital, and but at the same time, being an Indian company, I'll also say that we have to create this ecosystem that it's a steady pace. And the role of the government here is to, for example, the government organizations, all of that, they will come through this. UPI itself is a government initiative. Without the government's push, UPI could not have happened. Now that UPI has happened, I can point to the advantage. Indians pay the lowest, near zero transaction fees. The typical transaction fee when you swipe a card in the US is of the order of 3.5 to 4%. That's what the merchant is paying. That is stacked into every goods, everything you buy. Here, the very smallest vendor is able to collect payment nearly owing with zero money. The bank has already rolled it into their banking fees, one way or the other. So that technology is vital. It saves the Indian consumer, the Indian merchant, real money, serious money. To put this in perspective, the NPCI, the company you referred to, UPI, the company behind UPI, that makes about 3,500 crores revenue, which it's quite decent. When you put it against the global majors, what payment revenues they are doing, these are 300, $400 million versus 30, $40 billion. We're talking about. That's a factor of 100. All of this coming from those payment fees. So it is important that we actually have these technologies. We can make them much more affordable. That is why these ecosystems are important. I think that the economic imperative also will work. A good example is the Namayatri kind of a app in Bangalore, right? Because the auto and taxi drivers, all of them, are paying a huge price to be on those ecosystems. Now, this domestic ecosystem is a much less expensive for them, and for this, it works out for the customers too. So it will definitely, all of these ecosystems will take off for those economic reasons as well.
Right. And like you mentioned, India has the volumes to offer also.
Yes, correct. Right. The trick is if you can keep yourself alive to invest in R&D, then long term we can actually make it a ball game.
So survive till you thrive, basically.
Yes, exactly.
You also are a firm believer in build slow but build right? So when you look at AI, which is fast evolving, every day there is a change that's happening. How do you reconcile these two elements, the build slow, build right philosophy with that fast-paced nature of AI?
Yeah. Um, to an extent, that speed you observe is a kind of an optical illusion. Okay. If you have a lot of investments going in, a lot of R&D happening, and then you roll them out as they come to fruition, each project may be 3, 4, 5 years. But I mean, I'll give you an example. In the last 2 weeks, we launched not only Arattai, we launched Vani, we launched Zoho payments, all of it. They are independent teams, and each of them have been worked on for many years. Arattai for over 5 years, Vani similar 5 years, and payments has been worked on for maybe 3 or 4 years now. They are launching one by one, and we have many more launches coming. But when you stagger those like that, it appears like we're moving extremely fast. But there was a pipeline of those projects, internally being worked on for many years. It's the same thing is true in the ecosystem. What you see is an optical illusion of extreme speed, but really for any one team, they worked very hard for many years to make that happen. And what, from a company perspective, from an overall ecosystem perspective, and the nation perspective, we have to have many such parallel activities going on in order to create speed of execution at the top level.
Just extending that point a little further, you considering all the attention that Zoho and you personally have also got, and considering the connects with the government, will we start seeing you play a much larger role from a policy making point of view?
Uh, I am very busy with technology right now. I am on some committees in the education ministry and AI Center of Excellence. I was a chairman of the committee. and I'm also in UGC member, and I'm also in IIIT I'm a chairman of board of governors. I'm actually very stretched thin right now for time. I'm 70% of the time I'm immersed in code. Now I have to do all of the interviews now, and I have to do this. So, and if you ask me what is my primary mission, it is to make sure we are technologically self-reliant as a nation, and we also take this technology development to rural areas, tap our rural talent, create opportunities for our rural talent. That is my mission. So I want to live where I live. I want to be in rural districts. I don't want to move to big cities. So that's my self-imposed limits. So within that, I'm happy to provide, my service to this nation.
Got it. Coming to Zoho specifically and Zoho's AI, right? You did touch upon some of those elements. You have ZI LLM also, which is a small language model. You've spoken about investing in larger language models. So can you give us a little bit of update on where the large language model development is right now, and some more updates on Zoho's own AI push? There is the agentic AI marketplace, which is enterprise.
We launched multiple models. There is a conventional, machine learning model, and then we launched a 7 billion parameter model. We are working on a 70 billion parameter model. I think that should be about ready soon. Those are all completely homegrown, with full training done in house, not fine tuned external model, but completely homegrown. And they are performing well for the use cases we are throwing at them. Already, many of those are integrated into the Zoho products. A lot of the AI features you see in Zoho products are derived from these models. And the key benefit is they are a lot cheaper to run. Because they are a lot cheaper to run, we don't have to tax the customer. We can offer it an often free or a minimal additional fee. And that's important to us because our customer, we don't want to go ask for more and more money. We want to offer them a lot of technology at a very affordable price point. So that's why we are doing R&D in all this. We are also doing additional R&D on separate approaches to these, where we can achieve very similar results to the big models at a lot smaller footprint. That's an area of foundational research. This is not something that immediately will result in products, but we are continuing that foundational research as well. So that's what is going on. There's one side similar to what the other companies are doing, and some other side, some foundational work too. That's the parallel tracks we are heading right now.
Got it. So will we see ZILLM grow into a foundational AI eventually?
Yes, eventually that's the goal. But by then, I hope to see the GPU shortages, more GPU players emerge globally, including maybe some from India. All of that is about to happen. Like AMD has a GPU, Chinese have GPUs, and other GPU efforts are happening. All that is important for them to become affordable. At the same time, energy efficiency has to be a factor as well.
Right. You have made a lot of investments through Zoho across a multitude of companies, right? Like from robotics to medtech. From within Zoho itself, you have a wide variety of products now, spanning enterprise and consumer. So when you look at Zoho's evolution, right? When you look at Zoho's future, how do you envision it growing? What would you like Zoho to grow into?
Yeah. We see the opportunity to build a very strong, complete technology, R&D driven technology company. Sort of the defining R&D driven tech company of India that is pulling the whole R&D ecosystem forward. That's how we see it. We are in medtech and robotics and drones, in chip design, a lot of these areas now. And all of this are vital to both our economic security, our national security and sovereignty, all of those initiatives. That's why we are investing in all of them. And through this, we want to create an ecosystem of innovation which other companies can benefit from. Other companies are born from all this. So whole regions benefit. So that is our objective. And in a nutshell, I look at something like a Bell Labs. And we want Evolve to become that type of a research and development driven organization.
Right. And it's when I listen to you, right, it sounds easy, but obviously there's a lot of challenges there. I wanted to understand, what are the gaps that you see? Like you mentioned, you've invested in multiple areas. from within the company and also outside in other younger companies. But what are the gaps that still persist?
If you look at the supply chain of all the technology, like how do you build the drones, for example, there's critical parts of the supply chain that are missing in India. Like, how do you make those advanced motors required for drones? And the flight controller, for example, the software, a lot of that we still have to do. CAD software. If you want to design chips, there's a software for chip design is coming from that, and that software tends to be very expensive. There is no made in India alternative. So there's a lot of gaps here. I mean, I can point to hundreds. If you know, maybe in 1 hour conversation, I go into hundreds such areas. Metallurgy, advanced metallurgy, specialized alloys, advanced material science, carbon fiber. This is all very critical for both commercial and defense applications. And of course, rare earth materials. There is a fight between US and China. We are bystanders, but we are involved because we also need all that. There was, a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, there was a big, scare about the Chinese magnets not being available to our EV ecosystem, the permanent magnets. China controls the supply of permanent magnets right now. So all of these issues, right, these are all critical gaps. Only way to address them is having a long-range plan, make progress month after month after month, year after year, keep that long haul in mind, make progress. And this has to happen in the private sector, and the government has to have the full backing of the government in terms of the push. In some cases, for example, government financing may be required, for example, in rare earths or magnets, all of that. So it has to happen as a kind of a national technology mission here.
Right. And for Zoho specifically, where are the gaps now that exist from a Zoho point of view, where you would like, you would be doing more investments or you would be doing more further development? Like I said, multiple areas that you're investing in, right? So it's interesting to see where you see the gaps within Zoho right now.
Yeah. Within Zoho, clearly we have, we don't have an operating system right now. We are developing, and the cloud stack we have built, the stuff underneath, and we are using open source and things like databases. We can build more, and those things have to be integrated with AI. For example, databases and AI are two separate kind of data source. One an approximate retrieval, one is an exact retrieval. They have never been merged. I believe there might be some potential in that area of R&D. Those are the areas that we'll be looking at.
So a Zoho operating system coming soon.
Well, I wouldn't say coming soon. They are working on it.
Got it. And, coming back to the entire attention that you have got from the Arattai mails and all of that, right? There is also that risk of being too closely identified with the government, right? Like you mentioned earlier, there is always that risk of the, being pulled down from the pedestal. So how are you de-risking so?
We are staying grounded. We are staying humble. We are grateful for all the support, but we are in this for the long haul. And because, our attention spans necessarily, it's not everybody cannot be talking about Arattai all the time. At one point, it seemed like it, but it cannot last. And we have to execute. And so we are staying grounded. And even our critics will see over time, it's Indian technology is required. It's in the interest of, their own children, grandchildren, all of it. If our children have their future in this country, we have to build all this technology here. Companies that do it are necessary, whether it's Zoho or somebody else. Indian companies have to be building this. I think once all this current moment passes, people will come to recognize that.
All right. So once the current moment passes, anything else, Sridhar, I wanted to ask you from a point of view of, when you step back away from all this noise and you are in Tenkasi, you have that advantage of being away from the noise physically. What is the biggest sense of achievement that you're getting right now?
The talent pool I see that we have tapped, the rural talent pool, and the people who visit Tenkasi. In fact, I invite everyone to come and visit and take a look what we have built there and what we are seeing in terms of our Zoho schools, all of it. That's the most gratifying to see. People coming from very modest backgrounds, rural backgrounds, building state-of-the-art technology. You can visibly see it, and that's what impresses everyone when they come to see it. This is what we are building here. And to me, that's personally the most satisfying part of all of this.
So final takeaway in 2-3 years, where do you want Zoho to be?
Uh, Growing steadily, innovating, creating more of these, really everyday useful products that quietly do the job. And let me come to Arattai again. Finally, I'll say this. This should become part of your essential utility that you trust, and it should disappear from. It should be in the background. Let you focus on your communications, your friends, and your work. All of it should disappear in the background. It's not about Arattai. It's about the user, the communities. That's what I would hope to see.
And in those 2-3 years, what
Yes.
would you like you yourself to be doing? What
I will continue to write a lot of code and really ship a lot of code.
great Sridhar. Anything else? In anything else that you think we should be?
Then I think you covered the full gamut. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sridhar.
Thank you.